Yeah, let's get this interview started. Um, this is Nottamali, again, the third place finalist at the Madness of the Gods tournament. Let me get this set up real quick and uh, do, 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 do. All right. So how's it going, Nottamali? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How's it going, Lion?
Doing really, really well. Happy to have you on. Thank you for very much for taking the time to come and do this. I'm glad that you were stoked on the idea and yeah, that you're here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I have fun in your stream, so I figured this would be a nice next step.
Awesome. Awesome. So, yeah, I wanted to start off by asking you. Oh, yeah, actually, let me thank you real quick too. You are in my stream a lot. You've been a huge supporter. You're actually in everybody's stream a lot. TT new
Yeah, you
players.
know it.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're such a pillar of the community, and so just know that it's very much appreciated. And yeah, it's just really cool. I appreciate it a lot. So I wanted to ask you first, what's your history in trading card games, and did you play any other trading card games before you started playing Gods Unchained?
Yeah, so nothing really too crazy. Just Pokemon as a kid. Played a little bit of Magic growing up. Up until like, basically high school, and then stepped away from it. But I was always having fun with it when I was younger, and yeah, so it's really just kind of basic on that end, though.
Okay, okay. Um, did you so no Hearthstone or I guess anything more recent like Magic the Gathering Arena, Hearthstone, anything like that?
So my brother plays Magic the Gathering Arena, and so I played a little bit of it, but yeah, not too much. I did actually play a really strange, like older card game. It was called Legends of Norath, and it was tied to EverQuest, the old MMO, if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I didn't I missed that boat by a little bit. I tried playing EverQuest as a kid, couldn't really figure it out, and then I ended up playing World of Warcraft, but that's cool. That's cool. I never heard of that one, but probably one of those odd spin-offs.
Yeah, it was super interesting because it was tied to the MMO, and so it had kind of loot assets, which kind of got my brain, spinning into the whole NFT realm. So it definitely was an interesting experience.
That's cool. I'll have to do a little bit of research on that. That sounds like interesting to read about. So yeah, that's the next thing I wanted to ask you about is as far as Gods Unchained, what is your favorite god, and what type of deck do you typically play?
Yeah, so definitely Iona for me. That's sort of what I started with. I'm very much a kind of like free to play player as my mindset. I'm I'm all for um, earning cards or purchasing a card if it's needed to make the deck work. But for the most part, I enjoy beating the best decks with what I earned with my own two hands, and I think that Iona is probably one of the best gods to do that.
Okay, that's awesome. And for those of you that may not be familiar, that is the nature god. That's cool. I actually really feel that vibe. I tried doing a challenge, or I guess I did a challenge. You were there for that though. The free to play to Mythic, in which I played nature. And you helped me out getting that list together at the end so that I could make that final push because I was bouncing off diamond, and then kind of helped me get the curve together and get that nature list together. So that makes sense. So as far as the Madness of the Gods tournament, you came in third place. Pretty big achievement as this is the only major official tournament for the game as of right now. And I wanted to know, how did you feel about the results, and how do you feel about your performance in the tournament?
Yeah, great question. Very surprised, I think is the simple answer on it. I think I had myself losing in probably the fourth round or so. Um, I kind of lucked out in terms of the meta around these rules were really in my wheelhouse. So I just really had a good time with being really comfortable with the deck that was at the top, and I was able to just really think it through. But overall, just fun. Like I said, thank you to Copper, thank you to TriggerHaven. These events are just like so much fun, and they're community run, and we're such a tight knit community. Um, so on my end, it's just like it was a nice little change of pace from the weekend rank grind, and some people reached out to me, and I even played games to sort of prep as I kind of got further up in it. So it was just a wonderful experience overall.
Nice. That's good to hear. Yeah, big shout out to Copper and Trigger for what you're doing with that tournament. It's really great, and it's something that I want to play in the next one, and I aspire towards as a new player. And I think a lot of new players feel that way. So yeah, thank you guys for putting that on. It was really a good time to watch. Um, and yeah, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the tournament and facing Mirage. I think a lot of people may or may not have heard, but Mirage has won, I believe, all four of the Madness of the God tournaments. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I
Yeah,
believe all
it's all
four
three. So yeah,
or all
three of
three.
three.
I'm sorry.
He's
Oh yeah,
got it. Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, all three. My bad. But you're one of the few people to take a game off Mirage. I don't think Mirage has dropped many games at all in these tournaments. So how was facing Mirage? And yeah, just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, on my end, I pretty much ran the same deck for everybody else, and then I kind of overthought it, I think, the night before. I was doing a bunch of reps, and I had this idea in my head of what he was going to play, and so I sort of just like tweaked my deck a fair bit. First match just did not go my way, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going back to what I have been running this whole tournament, and ended up pulling off one of the better combos, and I think pretty much like a perfect roll as far as um, pulling that off, which ended up making the win.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy to watch. For those of you who don't know about it, it's a play with Deutria, and we will actually be looking at that clip here in a little bit. But it was that was such an exciting game to watch, and I know people are having a lot of fun in that. So that was great. So one question I had to for you is the limited format for the tournament. The rules that were decided on were the cards included would be Welcome, Core, and Trials. There would be no Genesis, and there were some bans on God powers. I know that Blastwave was banned. I don't know off the top of my head the full list of bans, but some God powers were banned. So there's a little bit of limitations that are going to change how the decks are built and what people play. And how'd you feel about that versus your experience with ladder and like how that affected your results?
Yeah, sure. So, I don't know if you follow the other Madness of the Gods tournaments, but Magic has been very dominant. Blast Wave is extremely efficient God power, and it was pretty much just Magic versus Magic um, for the previous events. And so these targeted God power bans, in my opinion, worked out really nicely because we started to see a little bit of variety, especially in the early matches until Nature settled into being the seemingly the dominant pick. Onslaught was one of the other bands. So basically, two really sort of, in my opinion, like easy late game decks. Like you can kind of cruise past the early game. Those decks were off the table, which opened things up. And then for me personally, because I pretty much main nature, it just really fit nicely into mirror matches, which is something that for nature you have a lot of control. You have pretty specific, number of removals and some good curve things that, were just really easy for me to kind of like visualize more than say if it was another Magic versus Magic matchup, which I can do, but I'm just, not having as much fun with it.
Yeah, I know that feeling in from this last week in Control versus Control was not a good time for me. I can tell you that. I know that Copper has expressed that sentiment as well, going to your deck out, drawing all your cards, and whatnot. But yeah, I think it was really interesting to see the bands and see what effect that had on the play. It was something that I would like to participate in because I think some of the newer players would kind of like that experience at some point too, where it's no Genesis cards that you don't see all the time in ladder, and just seeing what that would be like. And I think that the God Power bands kind of reflected some of the changes, the upcoming balancing changes that are going to be coming out. So I don't know if we're going to see a limited format in the future. I have a feeling that we might see it play out kind of like Magic the Gathering, where you have a Type 1, a Type 2. There's like standard, extended, and all that stuff where different cards are legal in each one, and it makes it really interesting. And we'll see what happens with this, but yeah, I think it was cool to see. So my next question is, you are not on a team. I noticed that the two players that placed higher than you, they're teamed up. Is that something that you enjoy? Have you just not found one? What's going on with that?
Yeah, sure. Gods Unchained is still very new. There are some, some awesome TST obviously is the main team right now, and just a lot of respect for them. I really enjoy whenever I face them. As there's a little bit of dread, I'll tell you that much. But sometimes on weekend rank. But overall, it's just kind of just new as far as the game is concerned. For me personally, I don't have that full collection. I do really enjoy deck building and talking through things, but I really just enjoy talking with people in a sort of smaller setting, and it's just really competitive play was not something that I really considered on my end, but I'll certainly hop in a tournament if it's a rule set that seems like fun. And one of the things that I did notice from this event was that people did reach out, like I said earlier, to run some matches, and that was really kind of different from what I normally experience. So I can really see the benefits of being on a team, or just at least if not having that formal moniker, still just having a crew of people who you can just sort of like, hey, I'm really thinking about this combo. Can I test it out with you real quick? That's something that's just like clearly very valuable, especially in these tournament settings, because you can just iterate so much more quickly.
Yeah, true. And you have other people that might be testing lists or changes that can get information to you. It just helps. It's like you see that with any of the major card games and tournaments like Magic. I used to play some Magic the Gathering. I never got up to the Pro Tour qualifier level. I wanted to, but when I started seeing those other players that were at that level, they all had teams of people that were working on that stuff together and playtesting constantly. So yeah, there's definitely some benefits there. Also commitment, terrifying, but
For
uh,
sure, yeah.
yeah. So um, yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to ask you is when did you start playing Gods Unchained?
Someone has asked me this, and I think it was right around when Trial of the Gods came out. I missed the boat on Genesis. Um, and it was just one of those things where it was, yeah, right around when the pandemic started, where I was like, well, I'm not going out, so I should be looking for a fun game to play. And yeah, so I don't have the exact number for you, but yeah, so it's been, about a year is roughly how long I've been playing.
Okay, she'll be saying June, I think, Nada. So someone's been
Probably,
keeping
yeah, I
track.
trust her on that. Yep.
Someone's been keeping track. That's good. That's good. So I wanted to take a look at some of these clips here. Let me see if I can get the technicals on this worked out. Um, uh, so what do we do? Turn this off. All right, so let's take a look at some of these clips. I wanted to go over some of the things that happened in the tournament. Um, this is from game one, and I'm sorry, this is from game two. Game one was a little bit of a steamroll. Mirage kind of just,
You can say that, yeah.
yeah, as Copper said, and yeah, and Mirage kind of just had a brutal opening hand, and it just seemed like he didn't have anything to deal with it. But moving into game two, a lot happened here, and yeah, let's take a look. We're just kind of gonna walk through this, or start going through this, and go ahead and just kind of give running commentary on it, and let me know if you need me to pause or anything.
Sure.
So this is from Mirage's perspective.
Right. So here I play Deuteria, and pretty much I've got the Demonologist in hand, which is the combo that I was talking about a little bit earlier. It pulls the highest cost Nether from your hand, and in this deck, Deuteria is the only other Nether, so it will pull her again. And I just get a great set of rolls here. It will see as they're playing.
Nice, yeah, that is a really cool combo. Something that that's available. Those are both core cards, correct?
Yeah, they are, which is great.
Yeah, Deuteria a little bit weak on the board to start a 2/2 for one, but the power comes afterwards.
So yeah, here's the top deck right here. But again, Mirage is just able to really clear this super efficiently. It's very impressive.
Yeah, really nice board state and trades there. So the beginning of this one looks not so great, kind of like the beginnings of the last one, but things start to change here in the next couple turns.
Yeah, so like I said, I've been for this format, I was running a very late control deck, and as you see here, here's pulling the Deuteria again. Um, and so I kind of felt as though he was going to be a little bit slower, and he just had a lot of pressure really early on. It was fun to see from the other side, probably.
Yeah, yeah, it was it was really interesting to see what was going to go on here. Um, so yeah, just to reiterate, so uh, that 2/2 becomes a 3/3 for one, becomes a 5/5 for one, becomes a 7/7 for one, and that 3/3 there tutors it out of the deck into your hand.
Right? Yeah.
So now
And
this
so
is
still, go ahead.
I was going to say now this is where it starts to look like the board states a little bit more even, maybe even in your favor now.
Right, you got the confused, which could go, if he attacked first here, it would have healed me back up, and I would have been able to replenish a card, which is the Veil Warded Minotaur. So, here you see here is like, oh, nope, not going to attack that face until I clear this.
Yeah, the confused creatures can sometimes be the bane of my existence.
Yeah, you got to get a little lucky. But that God Blitz Goat icon you have going, that's what's up.
Yeah, goats in the chat, everybody. It's pretty big hype. It's pretty good big hype. I know you're a big fan of it too. I've been enjoying it a lot. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I actually ran the goat in pretty much all of my matches for this format.
nice. I was a little bit late for that one, but next time.
Yeah, you'll do it.
So yeah, we see some really interesting play here, like figuring out how to clear the board and also not give you the draw with that trade that ends up happening there.
Yeah, so he's able to do enough damage that I don't heal up and replenish. So that's the correct way to clear that.
For those of you who aren't aware, that 5/5 on the board there, it actually heals your god for 4 when it dies, and if that gets you to full or overheals, then you end up drawing, or I guess yeah, drawing one random nature card. So go ahead here.
Yeah, so this is the drop. This is basically this is it, and it's crazy. I don't know how much longer we're gonna show the clip, but it still gets taken out fairly quickly. But as I said, this deck is very much a late deck with a lot of walls, and ultimately Killian Elite is what I found that the mirror matchup had no answers for. So I just kind of played a little bit greedy to get there up until like these three matches. And so, nothing like a 7/7 for one mana to get you the late game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think another thing too is it's like you're getting so much value for one mana that it just starts to turn the board state around because you can play so much more power for the same amount of cards and mana. So it's pretty huge. Yeah, and we won't go through the entire end of this. I just kind of wanted to show kind of the main exciting point of what happened in this game. So this one goes on for a little while longer, but you end up taking this game too, and getting that game off of Mirage. Pretty exciting there. So the next clip I wanted to look at, this is something that I think a lot of people were interested in what happened. This is during the third game, and there's a turn where your turn ends abruptly, and no one's sure what happened really. We're gonna play this one with audio just so those of you who haven't seen it or weren't there can get some context.
Have to use that canopy barrage. I thought he was going to use it. He's storing it up. What's Nottamali got if he's got like an overgrowth? Oh my god, he just passed? Wait. What?
No.
He didn't even god power.
So there's confusion on the side of the casters. I'm telling you, the chat, there was a lot of question marks going on. Everybody was confused, and we were wondering what happened there. Was there a bug? So yeah, tell us what exactly did happen in that situation.
Yeah, so basically, at this point in my hand, I've got the Fire Wine and the Hunt. Um, I was going over towards the Sanctum, but I'm not going to blame a bug. It was on me. I just, I passed back. I knew with the Leech Life that it could just be free favor. I knew that he had all this like really just cheap removal. So in my mind, I was like, I didn't want to give him favor. I knew that I was just going to do my best to clear coming up in the next 2 turns. And so to me, it was one of those things where it was like, you know, maybe I should have been a little bit more level-headed with it, but it just didn't seem like as big of a move. But I definitely just kind of went quick on it because it was like, I've got nothing that I really feel like I can play. So I, just passed it back a little bit more quickly than I should have.
Okay, well that's good to know. We were afraid that there might have been some problem with the game client or something like that. So just to get some clarity, that makes sense to me. And we're kind of wondering too, like what was in your hand if you couldn't play the other cards that you had, or if it wasn't the correct board state to play what you had. So that's always good to know that it wasn't you didn't lose the final match due to some sort of technical blunder or misclick exactly. So the only other play could have been a token in that state and board state, and it would not have done too much for the outcome of the game.
That's what I tell myself anyway.
Yeah. Gotta decide on something. But yeah, that's good to know though. The biggest thing I'm glad is it wasn't some sort of like lag bug where I know some players have experienced where like they can't do anything throughout their turn. And then like they end up just like clicking past turn or something to see if it fixes it. So I'm just glad it wasn't something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so this the third clip that I wanted to show. This is our last clip from the tournament, but this one is the Archmonian Hydra play with the Lightning Bolt, and I thought this was pretty interesting. If you want to walk us through this one.
Yeah, sure. So again, for the mirror, Archmonian Hydra is just a really solid card because of all the confused and the lack of targeted removal. So if you can get it behind something, the Hydra heads multiply when they die as long as that main Hydra body is still on the board. And so I had won a few games through just being able to drop it. I hadn't dropped it just naked as it is in this instance, but you do see some pretty um, interesting gameplay here where Mirage is basically, if he can hit with the Rhino, then he clears and it's pretty much game over. But as you can see in a second, I think it's going to go face. But yeah. And so there's just meaningful decisions around, he can't clear this 3-2 or it starts multiplying. And if he did, then I can really just start clearing the whole board. So it's, I'm really on the ropes. He's obviously at 29 health and all of that, but it's not down to 1 health. I had forgotten that. But yeah, it's here's the lightning strike.
And you can see look at Copper's reaction. Look at Copper's reaction to that.
Exactly. Props to Coffer, probably rooting for me a little bit there.
Well, yeah. Also, like just one thing that was discussed and Copper had said a couple times is that he hadn't seen. I think both Trigger and Copper expressed this sentiment that they hadn't seen Mirage play chance based plays as much as they had before in the games against you. And I don't know if that was circumstance or just how close that some of the matchups were where it was like it was worth it because I know I think at the end of game two, the one that Mirage loses, there's a leech life that needs to hit your what is it, a 7-1 in order to win the game, and goes for the gamble and doesn't get it. So maybe decided that when it's 50-50, it has to. Well, I guess the one before what in game two wasn't 50-50, but the odds have to work out at some point. But yeah, I found that interesting. What do you think about that?
Yeah, just exciting gameplay. I mean, some people might think it's less skill. The nature versus nature matchup, I feel like it does come down to a coin flip sometimes. You have this really strong moment that you can kind of crystallize when you're looking back in the match and say, oh, if only my lightning strike had hit, or only if they had done that. And obviously, there's much more to the game than that. However, you do have these really big plays that can go and just swing the entire match, which to me is interesting. Maybe to people on the higher skill curve, it's more of a frustration, but at least I feel like watching it back again, 1 health to 29, um, but thinking that hey, if that had hit the other way, there could have been some at least some much more interesting gameplay after that.
True, true. Took the chance though and hit it. So yeah, congrats to Mirage for winning
For sure, yeah.
Madness of the Gods 3. And again, thank you very much to Copper and Trigger for putting that on and for letting me use the content here in the interview. Really do appreciate that. Make sure you go over and check out both of their Twitch channels. People can link them in the chat. That would be great. Make sure there's I think a lot of people just came from Copper's chat and stream,
Yeah,
so
they know about it.
you
Yeah.
probably already know, but I just want to make sure to do that shout out because it is very much appreciated. So okay, I had a couple more fun, lighter questions at the end for you. My next one was, what's your favorite card art?
Yeah. I don't know. I really do like the art style of GU. Just as like a side note, that this feels a little bit closer to Magic the Gathering, which is sort of, I said Pokemon, but I also had a bit of Magic growing up. So, um, I, I think I'm gonna go with the icon that I have, which was, um, you actually get an icon if you have a Genesis card of a certain shine. Your highest shine card becomes your icon,
Hmm.
and it just happened to work out to be a really cool card art, which was Swashbuckler.
Swashbuckler. Okay, let me check this out so we can all see what is being talked about. So Swashbuckler here, very suave.
So yeah, exactly. He's like, he's like a pirate on a ship. Like to me, that's very rogue like. It's just I like the coloring, and it's also the icon whenever I queue up a match. So what's he doing with that dagger? And it's also a great card. Like that's the other thing. Obviously, the art's cool, but it's one of those things that this is really cool, like in an enraged deck. And there's if you can buff it, it's just like a really versatile 1 drop. So that also ties into just stuff I just generally like about a card in general. So a little bit biased there, but yeah, cool pirate.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Um, my next question is, were you into crypto and NFTs before GU?
Yeah. So short answer, no. I've been doing a little bit of research. I had also played MMO EverQuest back in the day, and there was this card game that was tied to it, and people just really assigned like essentially just real value to their cards. In their mind, they own their cards, they own their assets, and so just like from a very young age on my end, I've always been like a big proponent of seeing digital assets as something that if you've put in sweat equity or either it bought a pack or whatever it is, you should own that card. So just more on like a philosophical level, I've always just been really interested in the rules around who owns something digitally. And when I started to learn about NFTs and crypto stuff's always interesting, but to me it's more about um, just being able to actually own what you have, even if it's not a physical thing. Like to me, there's very little distinction, but the world's still catching up to that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm on the same page with you about owning the actual underlying asset. I think that's something that really kept me from ever getting into Hearthstone. I played the arena mode a lot. I did play Hearthstone Arena a ton. I started playing that game in beta. I think I even bought a beta key online for that game. Because I just like once I saw that I was like, wait, so I can do like magic drafting but from my house. Okay, I'm in. And it was a ton of fun. But when it came to like the long term and constructed and how much investment it would take and me knowing that I'm never going to see that again, as opposed to when I used to play Magic the Gathering, I could sell the cards. It was off-putting. So when I saw the idea for GU, that the cards are NFTs, I honestly, in my personal opinion, think this is the best application of NFTs out that I've seen in practice. I've heard of things like insurance and other like business practical ideas that I haven't seen working, but as far as a working model of using an NFT, this just makes a ton of sense to me. You have all the benefits of being able to buy, sell, and trade the cards of a card game without having to carry them around. They don't take up space in your house. They can't get water damage. they don't get any play damage, so you can play your best cards. You can play your Diamond Demogorgons, or I mean, 4 people or 6 people can play their Diamond Demogorgons without there being any damage to it, and then you can go turn around and sell that. And I think it's a great application.
Yeah, no arguments here.
Okay, so my next one is, and we're almost to the end here. I have one more after this. What do you think is the most overvalued or overrated Gods Unchained card currently?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I've heard people um, talk about um, Jason being overvalued. That's sort of it. I don't know if that's really my opinion that it's overvalued, but currently, like as of today, it's really jumped up a fair amount. And it's one of those cards that is just really, really nice for control decks. It's just, in my opinion, it's always going to be a card that's useful. Um, but with the actual supply and when IMX comes out and all of that stuff, is it overvalued right now? I don't have the answer to that, but I would say that that's probably my kind of like question mark answer. But
Hmm.
certainly there with a lot of these NFTs, people don't know. Like, I think what you were saying earlier, card games are absolutely like the best application that I can think of anyway. But you know, with the prices of some, people selling tweet NFTs, that sort of thing, there's a lot of speculation going on. And so, that kind of um, irrational exuberance can leach into this space if people are saying, well, I need this before other people get it. So I don't think Jason's there, but I think that that's one of the cards that if things do go off the rails, then this is probably going to be one of those cards.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and the sentiment that the NFT craze could spill over into Gods Unchained potentially, or NFT games in general. Um, there's been some cases. I think it was may have been a Banksy thing, but someone was burning real art and then like are taking a picture of art, a digital picture, or digitizing it, making an NFT, and then burning the original art so the only version that exists is the NFT or something like that. And it's in my opinion that doesn't make any sense. I would rather have the physical art myself. For those of you into NFT art, do your thing. It's just I'm for art rather have it physical. Cards, I'd rather have it digital. So cool. Yeah, that's definitely a big point right now in the community. Is Jason's value. So it's nice to hear your thoughts on that. So I have one I have one final question for you. This is just a fun one at the end. I noticed an overwhelming support for you in the tournament, and I have been hearing some word on the streets is you're referred to as the people's champ. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that Mirage has swept it, and I was certainly the underdog. The tournament was obviously run really well. The brackets were really good in the sense that, in the top four, you had, I think it was like 1, 3, 4, and then me at 42. So, everyone loves an underdog story. Um, and as far as, people's champion, that's, yeah, it's something. Um, I would say I do really enjoy just learning and teaching and just basically, playing with regular people. I do like playing at the highest level, but I also just have a lot of fun talking about someone who's, if it's, we have all these new streamers and everything, and just to be able to hop in and say like, they're like, oh, I played Hearthstone, but I don't know about GU, and then I can just sort of, bust out some of my knowledge and, we can have, a fun conversation is also just a piece that really resonates with me. So, I'll take it, I guess.
Cool. Glad to hear that. Yeah, again, you're such a pillar of the community. It's really nice how much time you spend teaching new players. You've taught me a ton, an absolute ton about how got me thinking differently about how I should be picking god powers. Even the way you talked about you take beasts on turn if you're going first, and otherwise you have a specific one for each matchup, and that helped improve my play a lot. And just all that stuff really adds up. So I know a lot of people are very appreciative of that. So next we are going to get into and let me just real quick just thank you very much again for taking the time to do the interview and all of this stuff. It's great.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Okay, so next what we have going on is we are going to be taking a look at the cards that I have available, and then Nada is going to be choosing, basically building a deck list out of it. So telling you, I'm going to be controlling the mouse, but Nada's going to be at the wheel, building a deck, talking about why we're making those decisions, or well, why Nada's making those decisions, and then we're going to get coached through how to play it. So let me get this set up for you so you can see my screen through Discord real quick. Need to stop this and share my whole screen. Okay, so there you go. Let me know, is that working for you? Do you see everything?
Yeah, I see the Discord. I see your stuff in like the bottom left as far as, oh, there we go. Yep.
Okay, yeah, cool. So yeah, it's a little bit of a wonky setup because the I hope this gets changed soon, or I figure out what's going on with my game UI. But this window is either stuck to full screen or a very small resolution. So um, okay, so you can see, everyone else can see. Let's go into collections, and yeah, let's I guess we'll start with more cards, and or do you want to go straight into a deck? Is there something you have in mind?
Yeah, so usually when I'm deck building, I decide which god I want to go with. But it's since I'm not like super familiar with your collection, I'd say we can just kind of scroll through what you've got. One of the things that I do think we've talked about for your stream recently is that you did pull Hector. So I was kind of thinking that it'd be fun to try to run an intense training deck, which is one that I've been sort of tinkering with recently based on some pulls that I've had. But let's see what you have, and if something jumps out, we can go in that route too.
Sounds good. Do you want me to sort by anything in particular, or just scroll through?
Yeah, I'd say scroll through to start. Let's see what you got.
All right. We know how the rate is. If
Yeah, it's just pretty small, but we'll figure it out. I know all the card art. I don't know any of the names. That'll make this a little bit more
actually,
difficult.
you know
But
what I can do? Since I'm sharing this window, I believe I can maximize this.
there you go. Yeah.
Hopefully the stream still sees it just fine, so there you can see it a lot better now. Can I still scroll through this? Okay, here we go. I can't actually see the chat now, so hopefully this
No,
is,
no. Yeah, you could make it small again. You want to interact with the chat.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, let's see.
So
So
so I'll just ask you, like, is there a god in particular that you're interested in? Like I was just saying, like I sort of in my mind, from what we've talked about earlier, think that you could probably make a pretty good, a fun, intense training deck. It's not the most meta right now, but I think I've seen between Hector and one or two other cards, you could probably pull it off.
okay, yeah. Honestly, I wanted you to decide what to do. I wanted to just see what you would do with the card set. So let's go ahead and try
Gotcha.
that. We'll go from here, and we'll create a new Auros deck. So what do we want to start with in this idea? What is this deck exactly going to be doing?
Yeah, so intense training, buff cards from your hand. It's not super meta right now. Onslaught is just kind of a free late game, and that uses Blitz to clear the board very efficiently. However, with it's been a little while, but the Fury, I believe, was changed from a 2 cost to a 1 cost, which gives Blitz to your creature. So that can kind of put the kit back in where you can utilize, in particular, it's called Noxy Pillager. It's the 3/3 with Twin Strike and Leech. Between that and your Trojan Battle Mage, you have a lot of kit that still gets you to the late game. Um, but you're also kind of like, I enjoy intense training. It was one of the first decks that I played in the higher ranks, because you can still buff those blitz cards and just still be in your face. If you roll well, you can be really oppressive in the early game. And then if they have a slower deck, that's not Magic Control Ram, um, you can really just like on curve, you can drop some really big cards. And with Hector as sort of a finisher, he as a card gets all of the buffs of the previous cards that are in the void. So you get your leech, you get your twin strike, protected, ward, all of that. So you get to play, in my opinion, like a very interactive game. Intense training can be seen as somewhat less interactive because it's in your hand as opposed to being on the board. but there are still meaningful decisions around when do you use the god power? Do you try to sort of load up on spells so you can kind of target what's being hit? I just think that it's just a fun play style, so that's kind of what I'm sort of leaning towards right now.
Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds really interesting. So I did try that onslaught list, and it's called Onslaught for a reason. I won't.
Yep.
I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It was the most unenjoyable deck I've played in all of my time in GU. So this sounds like a much better plan. I'd like to see how this works. It kind of sounds like we're able to buff some of these value creatures to be even stronger. Like it's a 3/1 with protected, but if we are able to give it you know, bonus stats and then also um, give it blitz with fury, that seems pretty value right there. So I think it's going to make for a lot of interesting plays on the board and a lot of options as to what you do with your cards. So I'm interested to see that. Let's start with what one drops we throw in there.
Yeah, so the other thing is, we've talked in your stream that you do own a Demogorgon, so I wanted to throw that in there.
Okay, yes, we do own a Demogorgon. I think it is a little bit out of the price point and availability for people, but I think it is a pretty cool card. We can go ahead and throw it in there. Um, yeah, I went ahead and bought the only Genesis card I own. I made the decision to buy a Demogorgon off OpenSea, um, just to see what's going to happen with the price action and hopefully save some money. We'll see what happens with the price on those. But yeah,
So basically, but I'm sort of thinking that Deuteria and you also pulled, I believe, yesterday the Demonologist,
I
which
did.
would either pull the Demogorgon because the Demogorgon is a Nether and it's the highest cost. But if you have Demogorgon in hand, it'll also do that sort of chain combo that we saw before. So I was sort of thinking for one drops. Um, there it is. Yeah, yeah, you do have it. Nice.
Yeah, so this is
Um,
this is something I pulled right at the end of the stream last night, and this is the card that was featured in that game too, that pulled Duichia's evolutions out, or evolutions, I guess you could say out,
kind
and
of evolutions, yeah.
yeah, a little bit, a little bit Pokemon there, and then also since the type is Nether, like as you can see here, Nether, then the other card Demogorgon also Nether would be the only two Nethers in the deck and very high value. So yeah, let's back to you on the one drop. So
Yeah, so let's throw that Deuteria in there, and let's get our Furies in there. Um, Cartesian, I believe it's the 2/1. I don't
I
think you have it
I
yet. As you
don't.
said, level 50, level 50 something. It's a little bit tricky, but as far as the one drops go, let's keep going down. I kind of like those two one cost blitz here. The way that I sort of run this intense training, I think it's called something brawler.
One cost split or
Tavern?
the oh yeah, the two
Yeah,
two tavern
Tavern
brawler.
Brawler.
Yeah, where is
Yeah.
that at?
Let's get two of them
Yeah,
in
we'll go
here.
back to owned. Let's see, brawler. I am blind. It looks like. Oh, here we go. Two brawlers in there.
Yeah, so let's take a look at what else you have. Another decent option is the Sail Weaver because you have that ward. I think we're gonna just keep rolling for now, but if we feel like we're missing some ones, we would probably go back and maybe throw that in.
Okay, so that's is that that we're all we're gonna throw in now for ones.
Yeah, so with this sort of more of like, control setup, you kind of are chilling out a little bit, and particularly because you have the Nocti Pillager and the Trojan Battle Mage. Um, once you get once you get that combo off around 4 or 5 mana, you're able to sort of clear the board anyway, and then you're just into to the fun part of the deck.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right.
So for the two drops, I think two Axewomen is still great. Like I said, I really the when I'm playing this, I really like the blitz because any intense training that hits is just like a really efficient play early. So I'm kind of going for that, early lucky roll. I think another set of good cards for this would be your two. Do you have two shields yet? I can't quite see that
Yeah,
one.
I
Two
have
endurance shields.
four. I have four shields now.
Nice.
So
There you go. So yeah, I'd throw the two in there. And let's see, do we want anything else? Um, I know that you're playing that Enraged deck recently with the Warmonger Smiths, which were pretty fun actually. Um, I would say, thinking about maybe throwing those two in there, but let's just keep going for now and see where we're at.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so here, the version that I've been playing has been using mana locks, which is just kind of for fun. It's sort of the opposite of the ramp magic, where you're kind of slowing your opponent down as opposed to jumping ahead yourself. Um, let's keep that in mind. Like I feel like it also got buffed somewhat recently. I think it's 2 cards over. Where
This
it
anti-magic
yeah,
wards. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So
I
that
do
that
like
one's
that
kind of
card.
fun. Hmm.
I do like that
Um,
card. It's I don't know if it's good or not. I don't see it played in too many lists, but when I play it, I feel like, you're kind of putting off that or like you're disrupting the plan of, like, a control player or someone that thought that they were going to solve the board state problem actively, with a certain drop on a turn, and then you get to draw a card. So it's like if you already have board state, or if you're trying to avoid something in particular or set up for something, and you can delay your opponent. I think there's some value there. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's a more fun kit. I think it doesn't have a lot of synergy because it's 2 costs for your intense training. So the 3 to throw that down is a little bit too slow, most likely. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. There is a Genesis card that's 4 cost, that also has a mana lock, so you can run, both of them potentially and like really slow down your opponent and get some early control. Um, but yeah, like I said, we'll just go with what collection you've got and see what we can crack open.
All right, sounds good. So from the threes, I know you mentioned Battle Mage and Nock Pillager. We're gonna throw those in for sure.
Yep, for sure.
Anything else out of the threes?
Yeah, so nothing's really jumping out to me right now. I feel like I feel like we're okay. The blade of sticks, because I know you don't really have other relics. Like, it. One of the things that I kind of like to do with this is to try to have a good mix of units and relics or spells, so you can have a little bit more control on what gets hit by the randomness of intense training. But yeah, let's scroll back up to the top and see what we can see.
For sure. And don't rope. It's exclamation card space the name that you're searching for. Is the card bot, and shout out to Rids for that. Thank you very much. It's been getting a ton of use in the channel. So let's
It's a lot
did
of
you
fun.
did you want to head over to forecast now?
Yeah, let's check out the forest. So I really like those mountain raider. You have the shadow and the yeah, those 2 guys.
Ooh, the Shadow Mountain
So
Raider
like I
getting some
said,
play.
yeah, kind of greedy here. But these, if you hit intense training on them, they double up. So they're kind of like, it's a common card. It's definitely very if you're a new player but you've purchased a number of Trial of the Gods cards, you would likely have 2 of these. Which, so for this kind of deck, like, a lot of these cards so far have been the commons. Like we did throw in Deuteria, but you don't need to. I'm just sort of having some fun with that. So as far as these go, I like these 2. I do like the Viking um, longship.
We have one of those still. Would love to open a second one at some point.
Yeah, I hear you.
Unfortunately, we just opened a bunch of card sharks. But um, so what do you
So
think?
yeah, I'm thinking this demonologist for what we're talking about. But yeah, go ahead if you have a question.
I was gonna say, what do you think about this Blade Sword and Warrior? I know we're only running the 2 relics, so maybe not value. A 3/3 for 4 isn't super big without having, like, the big part about this card is God Blitz. But I don't think there is any. I mean, I don't know of another creature aside from Face Goat, God Blitz Goat, the Goat, that knows that Face is the place. Blade Sword and Warrior seems to be the only other one that I know of.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right on that. I could be wrong for sure. But I would say that I do run that in my enrage decks because I have a few more relics, like you said. Just the 2 here seems a little bit tight. We may end up throwing that blade of sticks in for the God Blitz and the extra chance at a Carnage Sweep. But yeah, I mean, I have tried that in an intense training deck, and if you can buff it up, I've tried a version that uses the Might Makes Right, which is the card to the left of it. Which can, if you can get it to be pretty huge, um, it is aware of where the place is. So it's kind of cool. But I would say for what we're doing, probably not. But it's definitely something that's just like, yeah, it's a very cool card. I try to run it when I can. I just don't see it here.
Okay, okay. Anything else out of the fours that you're feeling strongly about? We do have a pair. We did get a pair.
Yeah. So you had a lot of luck with that enraged deck, which is what the pair going wide is really where that's really going to shine. For this, we don't really expect to be wide enough to get the pair to pull off. One of the nice things about it, if you're doing more control, is that it sticks around for a couple turns unless it's removed. And so you can you can sort of throw it down if you have your Carnage sweep. It's a way to set that up potentially. But yeah, for what we're looking at here, nothing else is really jumping out too much. Um, we do know that for intense training that you don't want to put like very high cost cards. You might want a few, but you're not putting your 8, 9, your eight your 8 cost cards, 9 cost cards, um, because you don't want that random intense training buff to hit it.
Hmm.
So at this point, what number are we at? I'm having is it
Well, we're at 17 out of 30. 17 out
yeah,
of
so
30
we
right
still have
now.
some time to play with this, but yeah, I would say for now, we might want to throw in another 4, but I'd say let's move on for now.
Yeah, give me 1 second. You know what I can do? I can actually stream you the window until the reason I was doing this is so that you could see between the game and this. But let me stream you that window, and that's going to be much easier for you to see, so you're not straining so hard. Check that out. That should be much better for you.
Sweet, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're looking at fives.
Yeah, let's do it. So we're gonna have our 2 Carnage sweeps here, and again, this is this sort of control deck where you're going to try to sweep the board, win the early game with that Fury combo if you can, and then just start to get some of your buff, your cards that are really, you know, high value, just making them huge essentially. I kind of go probably a little bit too hard on the blitz. I would say that Orcish Elite is something that looks interesting to me. Um, the version that I've been sort of tinkering around with has been using the Overproof Brew, which has also been recently buffed. I find that it can sort of act like a fire wine or a bit of a aggro clear. So that's something that's some pretty interesting kit. I'd say let's just throw in the brew just to see how it goes. Um,
Do you want one
and
of or two of the brew?
yeah, I would say one of. We're kind of one of heavy here, but that's kind of my style, honestly. Like I like flexibility. I know
Nice.
that other deck builders are probably not as pleased with this with this call, but I just love being able to pull the card that I wanted. That I was like, oh, this would be the best card right now, and being
Hmm.
able to actually just throw it down, even if I lose out a little bit of consistency in my deck. Like I'd rather fill it up with stuff that I enjoy playing and having those cool moments.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's something to be said about the unknown both for you and for your opponent. It's harder, so it's a little bit harder to play against a deck that you don't 100% know what's going to happen. That being said, is that trade-off worth not knowing yourself? Not having that consistency yourself? It's a give and take, right? But yeah, I like the thought of making sure that you're having fun while you play. That is the most important part of any game. So
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see here. What else do you have here on the fives?
we got that that golden Debian Strategos.
Wow,
Yeah,
really flex, and you got the you're working on that suite. Just got to pull the diamond, and you're there.
yeah. Not maybe not the card I wanted. Perhaps the card I deserve. I'm not too sure.
Oh man. Hey,
So
it generates favor. There's a favor deck for that card, so it's not the worst.
yeah, Favor got some buffs. Maybe it'll see some play.
I haven't thought about that, but that's true. Anyway, let's just throw this Orcish Elite in here, and let's go up to sixes.
Sounds good. So here we have some interesting cards. This is something I don't really know. I don't really understand where this would be played or what the value of Trial of Innocence is. I think I've read this like once, but yeah, I don't know my six drop warrior cards too well. I don't really understand how Auric Mage fits into a deck list. But what are you thinking out of these?
Yeah, so the Auric Mage is kind of if you are very much free to play, that's the only card. And say you were, you got your first legendary pack and you pulled Hector, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna run some sort of war deck. That's the only like readily available card that has Leech, which would then give Hector Leech when you played him. So it's one of those cards it doesn't see a lot of play, but if you're on a budget, that actually does add a little bit of kit to your deck. Trial of the Innocence, I tried recently. It did not go well for me. I think if you're wide, it can. it's basically, double the strength of each creature. So if you're wide enough, it's kind of a ramp. If you could get enough creatures with ward, perhaps, or something of that nature, um, to me, it seems a little too greedy. But I'm sure there is a deck for it. I don't see it here, um, but definitely a cool pool. Fortified Acropolis is not going in. Sorry to say,
Well,
that's
I
the
have
wall does not need to be a 10-12 if it if it could be. That would be nice for someone. But
yeah, I just keep pulling these as well, of all the cards to get 3 epics of.
they
I
buffed
have
it, so it's not too bad.
true. I got that value gain right there in the last balancing patch. I appreciate that immutable. So yeah, anything else in here? We want that. Do we want that ironclad for the
Yes,
anti
for
demo
sure.
tech?
Yeah, 100%. So one of the other things that, I wanted to kind of call out, if you're building a deck and you find yourself facing, people with pretty loaded Genesis, full kit kind of things, Ironclad Minotaur is a common card that is a great answer for Demogorgon. And so that's kind of, one of the things that I really like about GU is that they do offer a lot of basically avenues. If you're willing to get a little bit luckier, maybe you're not going to win it every time, but when you throw this Ironclad Minotaur down, and win the game with it, it's a great feeling. So I think at least one, we probably consider the two on it. But the other one that I see here is the Echo Caster, which sort of again, if you want to call that out real quick, this would let us pull back the Carnage Sweep,
Hmm.
which we don't have two, or the Fury, which are we basically I think we only have two spells
Hmm.
um in this. Oh no, we do have the Brew, which is also nice. So essentially, I was actually testing this out, and I think Professor um called, reached out, and like we played a match, and he played this for intent, and I'm just like, oh man, this is so cool. So I'm just gonna take it from him. I'm gonna say throw it in.
Yeah, Professor. Shout out to Professor. If you haven't followed that YouTube channel, definitely go follow that or subscribe to that. Great videos. I just watched one on stream yesterday, the Monday Mythic meta breakdown. It's great. So for Echo Caster, just one of here.
Yeah, I like the one. With what I'm seeing here, I think that the second Ironclad looks pretty good as well.
Okay. Okay, we'll throw that other Ironclad in there. Got to play the Shadow Ironclad. That's pretty nice. So here we're up to sevens, and this is Hector. This is the card that Nottamali's been talking about here. Yeah, if you wanna expand on what we take here and how this all works.
Yeah, so Hector is just a really fun card, and when I talk to new players, I find that some of them do pull it. It's like, certainly a possibility, and you can build a deck around it. Like I said earlier, it kind of its roar is that it kind of gets whatever tag the creatures from it your void have. So that includes, Blitz, Flank, front line, Leech, Protect. It does not get deadly, so just heads up on that. But Twin Strike, Ward, all of that good stuff. And so with this sort of deck, you're able to hopefully have some fun, sort of trying to go blow for blow, ramp up a card, and then after all of that, you play your Hector. If you pull your Hector and you've already, had a pretty tough match, usually he can either bust through and kind of get a win, or if nothing else, he's just like a really strong presence on the board.
Awesome. Yeah, let's add that. Um, very cool. And we have my Shadow Tartessian Mob just got the 1 strength buff in the balancing patch. Still probably will never see play, but interesting buff decision.
Yeah, I'm still kind of digesting the recent balance patch, but sort of the same thing as we said with those 4 drops that we added. Being able to, copy up a card is pretty interesting. So yeah, I'm with you on it ultimately, but it's one of those things that's kind of like, well, cool. If they want to nudge it a little bit more, I'd be certainly happy to, give it a go. Um,
Hmm.
you know, so yeah, I mean, as far as this goes, I've been having a lot of fun with strength with numbers. Um, you've got 3 of them, which is cool. I'd say let's throw one in. That's kind of a really nice, like if we've made it to late game, sort of with intense training, as I said before, you don't want to throw like huge creatures in because you're probably not going to see them by the time it would matter.
Hmm.
Um, but with strength and numbers, you kind of get a little bit of that, more of like that nature RNG vibe where photosynthesis was one of the big, when you see that, you're just like, oh man, they probably have some great stuff in their hand right now. I have the same sort of experience when I've been playing this one. So this is just like for me a really fun Trial of the Gods card. And because it's 7, again with what we were saying with the intense training, you are able to kind of pick the target that you want to get intense training by having one of these bigger spells.
Hmm.
Um, so to me that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually a great point. That you don't run the risk of intense training hitting something you're not going to be playing for the next, seven drops. It's not just like 4 turns away as if it was Hearthstone. It's like, it can be fairly far away as those turns do take 2 turn, or those crystals do take 2 turns to unlock. So that's a great point. And I know you mentioned you want to run the one of Demogorgon, the one
let's
Genesis
do
card we
it.
have. So let's throw that in there. If I think everybody probably knows what Demogorgon does. If you're even if you're you're a newer player and you start reaching those higher ranks, it is kind of the wall that stops your tempo. Leech 4/6 puts everything to sleep, deals 3 damage to a sleeping enemy creature. It's probably the star card out of the Genesis set. Really interested to see what happens with prices on this as well. So for 7 drops, is there anything else? Anything else here? Or are we going to? We have 3 cards left that we can choose from. Is there something that we
Yeah, so
want to
let's
fill?
check the eighths because something that I've been playing around with is the Ares Rune Blade because you can like with this setup, if you've made it to the later game, you have that, and again, it's not going to get hit with the intense training, so it's one of those sort of stall cards. But that's an 8 drop, so I don't know if you have it.
Let me
But
see. Uh, you
yeah, you
said
do.
Ares Rune Blades. I have
Yeah,
3 of them. I have 3 of them.
you have a minted version when Forging comes out.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to Dak a little bit about this, but it's kind of odd how many of the same card I've pulled, and some cards I have none of. And I guess that's randomization for you, right? There's like a pretty big card set, and that's going to happen. But we were just interested in that because he was experiencing that same situation where it's like he's been trying to get a single Dark Knives. He's like level 100 something, still no Dark Knives. Sorry to bring that up, Dak. But Gaston says it's scuffed. Um, but yeah, so we'll throw one Ares Runeblade in there. You're saying, and then we have 2 cards left. Dak is 126. Sorry, I stand corrected.
Nice. Yeah, it's everyone seems to have that story. People are missing, some common cards even when they're very high level. For me, it's Hunting Trap. That's just, I just don't own it. It's the last card I don't own, and it's an epic at least, so there's some reason. It's like okay, it's a little bit hard to pull, but I just whenever I'm like okay, I'm gonna build this Hidden Rush Deception deck, and I start building it. I'm like, you know what? Never mind. I don't I don't have it.
That happens
Uh,
every time I go to build a list on stream, and we go to look at Deception, and everyone goes, "Oh, no Hunting Trap, no, don't play Deception," because it's already
exactly.
so difficult, and to not have that, it's a bummer. I do have I did open the 2 was it Dark Knives, and I have 1 Shadow of Lethalon. I really badly want another one, but until I get those Hunting Traps, it doesn't seem like it's going to do me much good. So we have 2 slots left. What are you thinking for these 2?
Yeah, so I think we probably do need a little bit more in the early game. We're hoping for something that can be hit with intense training early and can kind of soak up some damage or put enough pressure that we can kind of cruise into our, later stage of play. I think I called out the Sail Weaver before, but now that we're zoomed in, I can see cards a little bit better. Let's let's look at the ones again.
Let's see what we couldn't see before. And yeah, for chat, the 9 you're talking about the 9 cost. Oh, okay, we have a Howling Berserker. I didn't see that. This is also another summon a copy of. Okay, at the end of your turn and roar, summon a copy of this
Yeah,
creature.
that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, I would say for, certainly that this deck would theoretically be able to do it. I just don't see it. For me, it's like you'd be better off just pulling it randomly in your strength and numbers than
Yeah.
actually having a 9 drop in this sort of deck.
Oh, I fully agree. I actually thought that we were going to go see a Laylord Hatchling, but I realized that that is a magic card. But yeah, so the way that works, there's a couple of cards that are 10 mana plus, and Laylord Hatchling is one where it's the amount of cards in your hand, reduce the cost, and then there's a death card as well that I think starts it at 10 or even maybe higher than that, but the amount of damage your god has taken reduces its cost. So there are a couple of mechanics like that. But let's get back to these ones now that you can see we've increased the resolution for you. Are you still there?
Oh yeah, I'm
Oh,
here. Sorry
okay.
about that.
No
I'm
worries.
pushed to talk, but yeah, no. So I am sort of still kind of leaning towards that Sailweaver, um, because if you can hit it early, the ward is really nice against nature, for example. Just being able to throw that extra 1-drop, which can make those lightning strikes and things like that just kind of cry at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We've got to, you know, I'd say we can probably. I mean, I kind of it's either the two Sailweavers or the two Warmonger Smiths, but we really only have those two relics, so it's like you're likely not gonna have that fun hit with an Enduring Shield for 3 KO, which is fun to see.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's like it's basically a skeleton heavy with a buff though. Is it good enough to
mhm,
run anyways, or would we
I mean,
prefer the ward on a 1-drop? Because that kind of allows us to even hit the god power and then potentially drop it on the same turn quite early, and
yeah.
there's something to be said about that.
No, that's very fair. Yeah, I'd say let's throw in these two Sailweavers and give it a go. I think that's kind of seems to be like a pretty fun deck, and for me it's really normally I just sort of throw it together and then start playing, but since we're talking it through, this has been fun. Um, but I would say yeah, let's see what we get.
All right, and we're gonna call it. Do you have any name in mind?
Uh, Intense training. I don't
Intense
know.
training. Okay, we're gonna call it Intense Amali, and that's
Nice. There you go. You're the
we
namer around here,
we
guys.
got it. We got it. That's also my second not a Molly themed deck. I also have an Animali. So
That sounds like a better deck, most likely. But we'll see what happens here.
yeah. So yeah. Let's go ahead and queue it up. I think I'm gonna have to switch back to how are we gonna do this? I will queue it up because my stream will automatically switch. Okay, we are going to clear cache to begin. As one does. As one does.
That's true.
Everyone probably familiar with that one right now. They're working hard. There's such an influx of players. So shout out to the entire GU team for all the work you've been doing. Been enjoying this game a ton. All right, so we're already in one. We're playing from Mythic right away. Just so you know, we're like around 1500, maybe a
Yeah,
little above
I might be
1500.
spending your
Okay,
exactly.
let me get you this shared real quick. I'm gonna stop streaming and I will start streaming. Here we go. And then you should get that. Cool. It's just a little switch over. It's probably just manually doing what the stream does automatically with those windows. Are you good? Are you able to see this loading in?
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. Awesome. I feel like my game audio has gotten louder. Or maybe it's just the loading screen.
Yeah, tough to say. I usually put it pretty low because I have streams up or I've got music going, but it's pretty good audio overall.
Yeah, some of the only music that you can play on Twitch TV. So I usually
There you
just
go. Exactly.
yeah, I usually have nothing playing. Yeah, I don't know if anyone checked out Spider's stream last night. He was playing covers live. It was incredible. Dude's
It was
great,
so good. Yeah.
great musician. What a voice. So yeah, if any of you know the Spider Show, check him out. It was really cool because I just had talked to him a couple days before about potentially doing a music stream. So that was cool to see. Yeah, voice
Yeah,
of
I
the
caught
gods.
I caught the end of it. It was just really really awesome.
Yeah, I saw you. Yo, you're on point with the nicknames. So he is now. we got the people's champ and the voice of the gods in the
There you
community
go. That's
already.
what's up.
The deck is beating the loading screen. Yeah, it looks like we might be stuck here at opponent connecting.
When you make a deck this good, it just doesn't, can't play it sometimes.
Yeah, I think the opponents saw they're watching the stream. They saw that they queued in, and they're not ready for this. They're not ready for this. Just had to hit the Alt F4 real quick. Yeah, the people's champ. I love it. I love it. Yeah, that was partially in your honor on asking that question, because I think it was you that said it in the stream, and then I started saying it more, and then it's so true though. It's so true. All right, so at this point, do we close out the game? I think we don't mind too much
Yeah,
about
might as
taking a
well.
loss. So
Yeah, I'm spending your ranking, so easy
yeah,
for me to just exit out of that. That's fine.
yeah, and we'll just hit level 59 again and get the pack. We opened the that nether card out of it. So yeah, starting at 1486. Too bad we don't get to open that pack again. All right. So you should, let me see. Is it still streaming now, or did it end because that window closed? Oh, okay,
Don't
it
mind.
ended. Let me get this going for you again. Cool. Yeah, next level is an epic pack. If we cruise through these games, so coming up against Magic.
Okay, that's fine. Yep, intense training.
All
Um,
right. This is the power. At the end of your turn, give 1/2 to a random creature in your hand. This is what we built everything around. Let's check it out.
so we're gonna throw Hector back. We're gonna also throw back our overproof brew.
And what are we looking for here exactly? What's the ideal turn one?
Yeah, so really, the ward's very nice. I would say that versus ramp magic, I would say that if we could just get a little bit wide and a little bit tall, we might be able to make it,
And do we
put enough pressure on. Go ahead.
are we looking at these cards right? Do
Yeah,
we want to
I dropped the Fury. Yeah, drop the
drop the
Fury.
Fury?
We'll talk through it.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
after we throw our mulligans.
Okay,
And
we're
our
gonna.
turn sweep. Yep.
Yeah, I had to act quick right there. Didn't mean to interrupt. So little unfortunate there. Demo wants to play.
So this might be the spell chain deck that Copper was playing. We'll have to see. So in this instance, I'm just going to pip up and play Intense Training. Anything that this hits would be pretty nice, except for the Demogorgon. But we'll play. Yeah, go
Awkward.
ahead.
So this happens. You click the God Power, and it queues, but doesn't cast, and then says you cannot click your God Power again.
So yeah, so Intense Training happens at the end of the turn. So you're actually no, you're good.
My
No,
bad.
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I've seen some stuff recently that's been some real like, oh my God, power isn't working. But yeah, you can just pass. We're good here.
So I will not lie. I've never played Intense Training. I've actually only ever played Onslaught before yesterday. So my bad. Thought this was a bug that I've encountered, but I just don't know how the game works. Unfortunately, is the case there. And that's gonna land on the Orc Sleet. So we got a 3/7 now.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping for that Sail Weaver to get it early. At this point, I would say let's put down our Brawler, and then let's just hit the Intense Training again. So Brawler, pip up into Intense Training, and pass it back over.
All right, and we know now gonna happen at the end of the turn, so we're not gonna panic. No panic there.
So it actually wasn't really. I mean, it's the rat deck. It seems we have no relic removal.
The rat deck.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the one that you've actually been talking about a lot. So this seems like a lot of fun.
You
I
love
don't
to
really
see
think.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
You love
Like
to
this,
see it.
people just like theory crafting. It's awesome. I would say let's play our next Tavern Brawler that got the hit,
Okay.
and let's Intense Training again and go face.
Cool. And unfortunately, cannot blitz on the first turn. I try every time, anyways. I do.
It's worth trying. Why not? And there we go. We hit the Sail Weaver. That's nice.
Yeah, luckily have not hit the Demogorgon yet. We're gonna pull the Star Shard Bolt there. Levitate.
Yeah, so this deck, like I said, I would defer to others who actually have played it and built it. But it has a lot of one-cost spells, and you get your Rodent's Rod, so you get to flood your board and then Form of Unity, and then there's a 7-cost spell that also does 10 damage if you have enough spells in your void. So this deck seems like a lot of fun. I'm missing a little bit of the kit, but in this instance, I'd say let's just play the Sail Weaver, and let's Intense Training again.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, we got a big old Demogorgon. That's nice.
That's really cool that Copper made the Staff Rodent deck. I would love to get that going. Yeah, the Levitate. I'd never seen that card before.
Yeah, there's this. I think this deck does take a couple Genesis cards because there's only so many one-cost cards that are like really good. So for here, the question is, do we want to keep ramping or do we want to put a little bit of board presence? The Orchestra Elite has Blitz, so if you want to hover over it, we know that it's been hit once with Intense Training. So it's kind of big. 3/7's not too bad. Kind of seems like maybe we should put it down and then just start getting into, say, we can start dropping some pretty big bodies. So I think that's what we're going to do here.
Okay, so we'll drop this Orcish Elite. That is a lot of HP there. So
yeah, so this setup you would rather not run into magic, but that's just what we're going to see. And at least this is kind of a fun one, so we're not expecting to be ratified, and
here it
the rat's on
comes.
his side, not on our side.
Yeah. Here it comes, Rod of Rodents. After you cast a spell that costs 3 or less, summon a 1/1 rat. Hopefully it pops off. I'm not even mad about losing to this list.
Exactly.
Either.
Yeah,
It's a total win-win. It's a total win-win. So
Yep.
yeah, what's the play here?
So I think that we have a decision point here. It's like, do we save this pip for playing the Demogorgon, 1 turn early, or do we pip up into putting a pretty big body down? Can we check the Void real quick? I'm pretty sure we haven't played a spell, but that's one of those things where the Echo Caster. Yeah, exactly. We haven't. The Echo Caster has Ward, which is pretty nice. The Ironclad gives us Ward, which also is really nice against Form of Unity, which is the win con. Well, one of the main win cons of this deck is a nuke to the face. So I'm thinking we're just going to pip up an Ironclad and then go face.
Sounds good. Yeah, the prediction pulls. Yo, I need to get that set up. I haven't done that yet. Alright, we'll pass here. It has Twin Strike, but you cannot Twin Strike gods.
You didn't try that turn. You said,
Yeah, true. I contradicted myself. I think the intense training at the beginning just threw me off. You know what I mean? It just threw me off. But
like I said, there's lots of fun god powers, and they are changing stuff up shortly. But it's still like, at the end of the day, that's like stuff like the Gauntlet. Just have some fun with it.
Here they come.
Rat, let's see it.
The Shadow Rat.
So I'm thinking this Carnage Sweep, isn't really as necessary. We also have our Overproof Brew. So if he loads up this board, we do have a pretty easy clear. So in this instance, I'm thinking we just throw the Echo Caster. Pulling the spell back isn't that big of a deal because we've got 2. So for me, it's just drop the Echo Caster and then go face with the Minotaur.
Sounds good. Let's do it. Yeah, I agree. If we had something of value and looked like we were going to be able to set up for that, maybe we'd play it first, but it looks like here, just getting the body down is good. I always forget that this card also has Ward. It is a pretty strong card for 6.
Yeah, it was buffed recently as well, which is pretty sweet. Like, at the end of the day, it's another really good example of, like, a very budget-friendly deck pick that can really let you hang against, certain things if you build around it. So if you only have 2 or 3 spells and you're like, well, I really need these spells to win, that's my win con, guess what, you have a common card. There's this welcome set even, actually, that'll let you pull that back.
Yeah, this is welcome, I believe. You get 2 of in your magic. The 3 is for welcome.
Get ready.
So we've
we've entered that moment.
It's rat width is at a maximum right now. Cannot fit any more rats in the building.
So I'm going to let you pick if you want the Brew or the Carnage Sweep. I think the Carnage Sweep's the way to play because we could use the Brew as a Fire Wine potentially. But and then the other thing is, while we do get hit by the Carnage Sweep, it doesn't break our ward. So to me, I think that this is the play, and then we just go face.
Okay, yeah, I'm with it. I also was thinking I would like to keep the Brew as a buff. So. But that's really good that you don't lose the ward when damaging your own creatures. Okay.
So yeah, you know what? There is a visual bug. Some of these 1 spells are, and you can just pass back. I believe one of the Genesis 1 spells gives protected. to a unit.
Okay.
So that apparently had protect. It happens. It was
Got
the one rat. It's like it's with hand sanitizer, it's 99.9% clean. So
it. True.
it's just that little guy at the end. He was like, you know what? I got a family. Let me go.
True. And it's
There
just
we
a
go.
little
And
bit
now
more
we can see
cozy
it.
with one rat on the board.
Exactly.
So not entirely sure what happened there. We got ancient texts, lost in the depths. Okay, they're gonna break the ward and finish it with a star shard.
It's that time.
And now the rat has friends and family. That's great.
Yeah, but one of the things that we see in the Sanctum right now is Crystal Rain. So that will also be a clear. I would say that we should probably pick that up.
You want to get that
and
now?
then yeah, let's just grab it now. It's not too big of a deal. But I would say the question is, do we just Demogorgon now? That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. It's usually the right play.
Yeah.
We could play the Rain, but it's not a full clear, so let's just drop the demo.
Sounds good. Yeah, the value there, and then as we pass turn, gonna hit one of the sleeping creatures for 3. And the reason why everyone says the best card to play after Demogorgon is because of those abilities. You'll hit 2 of the sleeping creatures the next turn. Alright, so got something. What did it get? It got Arcane Bursted. Okay, so that's actually one of the that's something that's supposed to go face, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the win con cards, so that's pretty nice. At this point, I'm leaning towards trying to play like an Intense Training, maybe get an Axewoman down in the Pillager, just sort of build up the board state a little bit so that we can hopefully knock off this Protected.
Okay, so you want to throw Pillager, Axewoman, kill one of the rats, and then Intense Training?
Yes, and then in this instance, we know that the Sail Weaver is going to get hit, which is not a bad thing against a Magic deck.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I like the play.
Yeah, at this point, we would have liked to see a bigger unit, but nothing wrong with a beefy warded unit.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the nice thing about Drider is if you can get it above the 3 health, so it doesn't die to Vanguard Axewoman, it's a strong card for sure. Yeah, I think there was some news about because Marmalade's asking, is there a mobile version of this game? And Yoda's saying it's not released yet, still being developed. Wasn't there some news about that?
Yeah, so State of the Beta, looks like there was a post that dropped shortly before the stream started. I was taking a look at it. Ooh, there's our second. Okay, so we got those Form of Unities down. Yeah, so I did see that the post was there. I'm not sure what the timing on it is, but I do recall that there was a previous post that hinted that the timetable is this year. So hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, sounds good. What are you thinking here? Do we want to throw the Rain? Get rid
I
of
think
these?
the Rain's the way to go because we also get a Delve out of it, or 4C, I mean, sorry.
Sure.
Which will let us sort of improve our draw power. So this isn't super useful if we hadn't had the demo yet. It would be nice, but we still can start. We could start getting the Deuteria roll. Personally, I think we should throw it back. We would much rather see a Hector or some other card.
Yeah. Sounds good.
That one's protected again. Nice.
Yep.
Lucky him. So I guess
Always.
we can clear it now because it cleared the protect.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking we're just gonna Intense Training again. Oh.
Okay. Cannot. So we're gonna go ahead and hit
Yeah,
face
it's all
then.
good. There
And
you go.
we'll
Maybe it's actually dead. I don't know. Just
we'll-
Intense Training and pass it back.
Yeah, we'll do some more Intense Training over here, running laps, doing push-ups, all that good stuff. Dryadar Sailweaver is getting ripped over here. 4-6 now.
This was great, by the way, that because we have the Ares Rune Blade queued up for the next turn, and we know that he grabbed the Briar, so we weren't going to play that on turn 8, or 8 mana. But now that he has dropped what is likely his only relic removal, I think that we want to attack face. Or let's see, hold on.
We want to
actually the Rune Blade does. Yeah, I think we want to trade that into the 3/4 so that we get our full clear.
Yeah,
so just run that into the 3/4 and then attack with the Rune Blade.
Sounds like a plan, and also I think we leech off this, right?
We sure do. Yeah.
Heal, God.
So let's go face. Yeah.
And look at this. We will take those.
Oh, there we go.
It's a powerful Rune Blade right there. GG's Excite. It's not too fair. You're actually playing against Nottamali. But
Uh, but no, it seems like a really fun deck. I don't particularly have the set to play that, but just playing a lot of one-cost spells sounds awesome. I think Copper ran into it where just pulling the staff is sort of difficult. So it looked like he had a little bit of that going on where he did, he played like 4 or 5 spells before he got the staff off, which worked out for us.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, and I just want to say props to Excite for running that list, and I think if Copper was running that too, that's awesome. I really love to see the rats getting played. I've been talking about it a lot on stream, so that's great to see. Yeah, so let's run it back.
Yeah, sure.
What would you, and Marmalade asked, what would you recommend against spell decks? Are you talking about magic, or because in general against decks that are running spells, you're going to want to run ward creatures.
Right. So ramp magic is certainly very popular right now. Ooh, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
Nice. Yeah, I just popped back. Let's throw our intense training. As far as what you do against it, Astric Implosion is huge, so you want to kind of try to win for that if you can. So you can go really aggro. And that's usually what I suggest. Yeah, let's just throw out our big boss guys. In this case, we've got Forage, Nature. I think this looks pretty good. Anything that hits here is pretty solid. The Battle Mage, I'm kind of like, not super excited about. I'd say, you know what, let's throw it back. Let's see if we can get something a little bit better, because that's a combo card. We need Full Fury, which isn't super likely. So let's throw the Battle Mage back in. And let's keep it. Why not? A couple 1-drops.
Give me 1 second. I'm having some issues with this stream displaying this, it looks like. There we go.
Okay.
All right, we were able to get that sorted. I don't know why sometimes it does that. It doesn't put the window on top that I have selected. So we got that going now. All right, what is our turn 1 play here?
So you've got 2 options. You could basically either start flooding. You could play your brawlers and your sail weavers, or you can intense training. I think because we got the Mountain Raider, I'm leaning towards intense training. Also, these 2-drops are very, while they are protected from Canopy Barrage, Axewoman, which is in every deck, eats these up. So I think we're just going to pip up into the intense training.
Okay, that sounds good to me. And then that hits the Sail Weaver. So we have a 3/4, protected also from Canopy Barrage. Those monkeys throwing rocks, they get you every time.
They know where to go.
And that is why we avoided playing the 2/2 Sail Weaver, because we would have lost that valuable ward to the fearsome Vanguard Axewoman.
Yep. So let's play that buff Sail Weaver and then pip up to another intense training. I think that's the play here.
All right, just trying to hit that Mountain Raider if we can.
Exactly. If we do that, we have a lot of value. I mean, it didn't hit it here, but still look at that brawler. It's also 3/4 for 1 mana with Blitz is hard to beat as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. I haven't played much Auros, and after yesterday, after playing Professor's list, my adaptation for the cards that I had, and then and seeing this, it's actually, I'm really intrigued about playing more of it.
Awesome.
So what?
So exactly. You got a few options here. I'm kind of leaning towards the Blitz to take out the 2/3 and then intense training and going face.
Okay.
I think that's probably our best play here.
Yeah, I like it. I'm not seeing anything that looks better than that by any means. Their Mountain Raider didn't get hit by intense training, so let's take out the 2/3. Still protected from the 1/5, and then we're just gonna intense training here, yeah?
Yep.
Played Nature last night, went up 5 Magic and lost all of them. Yeah, that happens. It's a rough matchup. Yeah, like Gaston's saying, Big Beast does. a bit better just because your creatures stick a little bit harder. Like going wide with cheap creatures against Magic just with Blast Wave is so difficult right now. It's yeah. Oh, I should say sorry. I was doing the interview earlier, so I didn't thank everybody. I want to say Yorick Fox, thank you for the follow. Wolfbolt, Miguel, and LOL Pox, thank you all very much for the follows. Really appreciate that.
Get ready.
Hope you guys are enjoying this. I know I haven't been as interactive with the stream. It's hard to balance right now, so this is my first time doing something like this, but I hope everybody's enjoying it. So what are we doing here, Molly?
Yeah, so I'd probably just get my Mana Shard rolling. Again, we're just sort of trying to fish for a hit on the Intense Training. So let's get this. Let's take a look at that Sail Weaver. I don't believe it got hit, which it did not. So the question here is, like, I'm leaning towards just Intense Training and taking out the 1/2 with our 3/2.
Okay.
But going face is also not not the worst option. I think in this case the 2/3 is going to take out our 2/2 regardless. Like, he gets a pretty value trade there. But at this point, we're still looking at whatever hits is looking pretty good, and we also have Carnage Sweep lined up. So, because we've got Carnage Sweep, we're good. Just I'd say, let's just go face. We've got Carnage Sweep. We've got some time.
Yeah, it is the place. It is the place.
Exactly. And there we finally hit our Raider, so that's what's up to.
Nice, nice. So we have 2 3/4s for 4. That is some value right there.
And face was the right call.
Yeah, it was interesting because I was thinking we would want to trade with the 2/3 to protect the 2/2, but really would not have been the play there. Would not have been the play.
2 arms.
Nice, just you're getting that tutorial luck if I'm on deck. So
yeah,
hang around.
Vicariously, like if like the game knows you're here and it's like, all right, we're just gonna put that on top, for you one time.
Wonder if Dan the Dev's in here. Yeah. So yeah, let's just throw down this Mana Shard and our Mountain Raider and go face. Let's see what we can get out of this.
All right.
Really make him work for it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll be the aggressor and we'll let them trade out, see what happens here. Yeah, and it's like we have a 2/2. We could have traded for the 2/2, but it really just doesn't make too much sense in the board state. Like, just go for it.
Yep, exactly.
Especially with the sweep in hand, we have some plays that we can make.
Yeah, and we've got that Echo Caster as well, so we can pull it back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a buffed Echo Caster too. So if it's looking like we want to just sort of race, we can drop that down, or we could probably get some value trades going with the card sweep. So we're kind of hoping for him to go a little bit wide here, so we get the most value out of the card sweep. But that kind of seems to be the play next turn.
Yeah, sounds good. How's the audio levels for everyone, by the way? Should I be turning the game volume down at all, or is everything sounding okay? Seems probably a bit loud. Like, good? Marmalade says good. All right. So going really wide here.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for him. Great for us. So you can sweep now. You could go face and then sweep your call, but
Yeah, either way should be fine, right?
Value.
Yeah, so we're gonna kill every single creature on the board here since they're under 2. Go ahead and get that sweep in. Wow. Now that's huge value. And we're gonna be rolling in the favor of the gods here.
Yep. So we kind of want to take a peek at the Sanctum. He's up to 18. He's not too far away. He could grab Discovery right now. I'm not super worried about it, but it is something that, with nature having so much control, that extra AoE damage is a little bit spooky. I think we're going to let it go because we look like we're in a pretty good spot. But and I kind of like that Twin Horn Rider.
Mhm.
So we're gonna pass, but that's definitely before you pass back, you gotta check out the Sanctum.
Yeah, very very smart thing to do. It's really the best to just at the beginning of your games check out what's in there, look at what the favor costs are, and if you're trying to make super big brain moves, even maybe plan out can you get one of those cards? Can you make it work for what's going on the board stage? Just keep it in mind.
Yeah, so for this, I'm kind of leaning towards playing our Echo Caster, pulling back our Karn Sweep, and then pipping up the Fury to take out the 2/4, which is his sort of, that's a card generator, so we want that off the board. But I think if we just do that, we can go face, and we're pretty much at the finish line at that point.
Cool, so you want to Echo Caster, give it Fury, kill the 2/4, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Get the Carnage Sweep. And then we'll get that face damage in, putting Schaefer down to 10. Oh, I should have asked probably if we wanted to grab anything here, but...
Yeah, again, he could, deal the 1 damage and probably take out one of these 3/2s and break the ward. So it's kind of like, it is a pretty efficient, setup for another clear, which nature just has a lot of clear on deck usually.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen too much going on here. There's a lot of creatures, no real spells yet. So, we'll just have to see how it goes. But, at that point, since we're so far ahead, it might have been worth grabbing. But, it doesn't seem like we're too big of a risk right now.
Okay.
2 arms.
Yeah, so at this point, I would say, we can probably just throw on our shield. I would say throw on the shield, Intense Training, and drop the Sail Weaver, so we know that the Viking is going to get the Viking will get the buff from Intense Training.
Yeah.
So next turn, if he drops a pretty big wall, we have something that has a good shot at being able to pump through it. But
sounds good.
Oh no. Yep, and we're almost at lethal, so we just go
Wait,
face.
do we oh yeah, we can't hit face first turn, even though this is Blitz, does not have God Blitz, so we'll set Schaefer to 1 and pass turn.
Right, and so the shield will be able to hit face next turn, which is really all that we care about. If nothing else, as long as it doesn't play ward, we can just Carnage Sweep and we would have enough to go face for lethal.
Yeah, and with both of these warded creatures, they're super sticky. They would be difficult to. It's a rough position right now for Schaefer. Veteran Hoplite, how's it going? Thank you all for the feedback on the sound. I'm glad that it's all balanced. Tried to do some testing and make sure it was working out before, and so glad that it is. Luscious Lemur Kid. What is going on? Alright, take that protected.
Get ready.
The Broccolis.
The
Alright, so yeah, it's a good game, well played.
Alright, and we'll take it home with the shield.
Nice.
Alright, secured the victory. Eating a late dinner. Yeah, are you also East Coast, or are you over on I guess, yeah, I guess I shouldn't even assume that everyone is from the States, because we do have players from everywhere. Yeah, for me this is pretty normal dinner time, so I'm guessing you're probably further east than Pacific. So going up to 15-12, pumping those numbers. Let's just get back in there.
Nice, let's do it.
Let's clear that cache. Clear that cache and get those cookies. Alright, and close to that neutral core epic pack. Could be anything in there. From Australia, good day, mate. Yeah, good day to you as well. I'm terrible at accents, by the way. Every time I try to do one, I end up doing an accent that I didn't intend. But well, it's like a random accent. You just get whatever it is. So, you're Vegemite. First dart. Right. picking up the training again on a strict regiment on this
Jared.
side of the board. Strict regiment.
Yep. We'll have to share the stream with you
Oh,
again.
my apologies, my apologies. Let me get you going here. All right. So throwing back these high costs, I'm guessing.
Yep.
What do we do with our last one?
Let's lose the demonologist.
You said throw the demonologist?
You know what? We can't do
Oh,
it.
we
What if we
can't.
don't get a creature?
Yeah. Throw the
You know,
Fury?
let's throw the Fury back. You know, again, it's a combo card. We don't need it.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Okay.
Here you go.
Just
So this will be
two
fun
brothers.
to try to make it work.
Sorry.
Yeah, some buddies. Yeah, let's just pip up for intense training and let's see what happens. This will be an interesting one.
All right. Yeah, I will not let the Rick and Morty joke go. I won't. I don't know if you're familiar, but
Yep.
My turn.
they're two brothers. Yep. So we got the strength in numbers. This is not exactly what we wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, you know, we're kind of being a little bit greedy with this deck by throwing a lot of bigger cards in. We're sort of hoping for our blitzes and our lower cost stuff, but you know, you get bad mulligans sometimes.
Yeah.
In this instance, at least there's not a lot of, you know, we're not seeing a blind martyr, shield bearer, like super wide flood. You know, they're going to get a little bit of favor, but I still think that for intense training, you know, we can just hit our god power and pass back.
Cool. Yeah. Not upset by it.
And so basically, if we hit the Carnage Sweep, we get a reset for, you know, there's likely not a ton of ward going on here. Just looking with this play 1, so you know we have a decent shot at getting the clear, and then we're totally back on track.
Okay. Okay.
And there it is. Yes. So we're just going to ignore everything and just play our intense training.
All right. Sounds good. We're still this part of the battle does not concern us. We're just gonna train up and get ready for it later into the game.
So there was a decision to make around dropping the shield. If he plays another creature right now, he would be able to destroy the shield. But because he only has 3 creatures right now and nothing has God Blitz for Blight, we can drop our shield at intense training. He'll hit it 3 times, but it has 1 charge left, and then the Carnage Sweep will proc off. So we basically get the maximum value out of the shield in this instance.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a great point. So this shield, for those of you that don't know, whenever your god's attacked, it gains protected and the relic loses a durability. So that's very smart to plan around. So we're gonna drop that and still training over here, right? Just getting our troops ready.
Just training up, lifting those weights. Yeah.
All right, let's pump some iron over here, run some hills.
Master of Steel, novice of faith.
Echo caster.
Yeah, it's great. We'll pull back our Carnage Sweep and
Yeah.
we'll have a pretty nice turn 6 or 6 mana.
And the side effect there of protecting from that damage, really nice.
Yeah, so you know, potentially against a much more aggro deck, like you know, we could have saved a lot of damage. And the other nice thing is, once we Carnage Sweep, we still keep our protect. So it's like, you know, basically this is about as good as it can get in terms of a turn 5 Carnage Sweep.
Sweet. All right, let's drop it. Yeah, veteran. At least we're ready for Demogorgons. Yeah, we're ready for any sort of sleep mechanic. All right, we'll go ahead and pass there. Not too much to do besides look at our very protected god and a clear board.
That's what we want to see.
And now our troops have been training quite intensely, and they're ready to see some play soon. We have a couple of turns before we can play anything though, so probably just more training for now. More training. I guess we could throw our demonologist soon, eh?
Yeah, so it's a tough call here. Like I kind of threw it in more, like a little bit more for fun, just in case you had already drawn. Yeah, I mean, we can get our demo. You know, at the end of the day, if nothing else, we can just play our demonologist in intense training. Yeah, not much else to do unless we draw something pretty nice, which doesn't seem like it. So, yeah, let's just do it.
All right, see what we get from this. Wait, so we're dropping Demonologist here, right? So okay, we'll have
Yeah, so we don't get our IT this turn, but we've had some pretty buff stuff, and we get our demo in hand, which is pretty sweet.
yeah, or possibly Duccia.
No, so it does the highest
Weapon
cost. So in
Oh,
this instance,
that's right, that's right. It's the highest cost. Ah, okay, okay, yeah. Also, first time playing this card, so I think the first time I really saw it was you playing. I think I've seen some other people play. It's a fairly popular card, but it's not like something you're gonna see super regularly, I don't think.
right? So it's gonna be those players who own the demo that are gonna be playing it. It was also somewhat recently buffed from a 2/2 to a 3/3, which is
Nice.
just really, put it as kind of a no-brainer. I'd say that buff has probably been, um, you don't need it, but it's certainly nice to see just
Hmm.
an efficient card that has a lot of options.
Yeah.
When it's a 2/2 is just not as impressive.
To arms.
All right.
Yeah, so at this point, we have a couple different things we can do. I'm kind of leaning towards um, dropping our Echo and going face. We could put down Blitz. We could put down some other stuff and get some of this intense training rolling again. But I'd say let's just put some pressure on the board and worry about ramping next turn.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. I think the only other thing I was thinking of is possibly the Orcish, but it doesn't do much here, as the
Yep.
2 damage is it's just not enough.
And
So
with heal, anything we would do that wasn't that didn't clear a unit would be just peeled back most likely anyway.
yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
before we pass, we want to see if we want to grab this archer. It doesn't seem like it's needed at this point, but with him being at such low favor, but he would be up to 10 favor if he hit with all these units to face. So or cleared, etc.
Yeah. Also,
So
we are at
that's
8, so we would overdraw, but I mean that doesn't mean it's not worth overdrawing depending on how good the card is, right?
Yep, exactly.
That is quite the board over there. I don't know. Was our intense training enough?
Did we train enough? I think we're good. I think we can just Orcish Elite and clear it.
Okay. We also have a long ship.
Yeah, so we got a nice pull here. I would say that the long ship might be a little, it seems to be better because we can pull it off and also intense training.
Hmm.
So we can hit with our 5/5 long ship to finish it off and then buff something else up, and we'll get our demo next turn. So it looks like we're good.
Okay, so we're gonna hit here. Kill this. Intense training pass.
Yep. So we did allow him to have this archer. If he goes face, he'll be able to very efficiently take out this 5/1.
Stand your
Um,
ground.
Here we go. That's a nice play. So this card actually does it have frontline? Do not see this very often, but
Yeah, I've never seen this card played, I don't think. When this creature attacks a god, pull a random creature from your void into your hand.
yeah, pretty cool. In this instance, I still think we're pretty much just doing our demo thing.
Yeah, it's one of the best turn 7s. Let's throw it down.
Prepare to be vanquished.
That's one of the 3 cards I have one of non-legendary cards. Which card? Hoplite. All right. The Holy
Just,
Enchanter coming
He's been doing a
out.
little bit of training himself, but
Yeah, it looks like it.
I think what we're gonna do is just do our shield Carnage Sweep combo, but we want to hit the 2/5 just to gain our 4 life.
Yeah.
But I think that with how wide this is just a prime target for we got a nice top deck here.
Yeah, and only one card
So-
in hand. This really puts us at a huge advantage. So let's do that. We'll throw the shield on and then Carnage Sweep.
Yep. So that's the Echo Caster putting in some work here.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and I don't think we're worried. He's only at 10, or they're only at 10. We're gonna go ahead and pass.
Right. And we're getting pretty close to Grendel from the sideboard, which, you know, we're getting pretty close to 8 mana, and we should be able to have enough. Did he just pass back?
Yeah, just passed back with 7.
Yeah, so I would say we do have one more Carnage Sweep in hand, so we don't want to. We could just swing face and grab the Grendel, but you know, no real point here. As it is, I'd say let's drop one of our good, you know, one of our particularly well buffed Minotaurs.
Okay,
and,
we got a 6/8 and a 7/10. Drop the 7/10.
I'd say let's go with the 7/10. Let's just do it.
Sounds good. And then we just gonna hold our shield for now.
Let's drop the Sail Weaver, but yeah, let's hold the shield.
All right, both of these are just 2/2s. We've been drawing them the last 2 turns. We'll pass.
So with the pass, it's like Purification Filters, you know, something that, there you go. So he, you know, he didn't have anything, but you know, you could be baiting out bigger units. Light does have a pretty good clear for any creature that's, you know, 3 or higher. Purification Filter that will take it out if it doesn't have ward.
Yeah, I always get confused about those cards, which ones hit the whole board. So it's like because I feel like there's some cards that even if you have ward, it just destroys everything on the board. So I don't know, or I guess that's how does that work again? I guess if it's a card, if it's a spell, it yeah, I get confused around that. I feel like I'm missing something in how those mechanics go sometimes.
Just with ward, that, you know, that ward will absorb a spell if it hits. You know, whether that's target all creatures or anything. If the spell would affect it, ward will just sort of absorb that. I do think that there are 2 or 3 Genesis spells which go through ward. They're like seen as like god spells, which sorry to possibly confuse things even more. But yeah, generally speaking, you know, say you had the ward and then someone played Purification Filter, you know, that card would be spared.
Yeah, you know what I think it is? I think what happens is I confuse protected with ward, and I think that my protected creatures should not die to spells when in fact it will only be protected if the spell is saying it's going to do damage rather than destroy. So I think that's actually my apologies on that. Probably made it more confusing. I need to take a real quick like a 1-minute break. Are you still good to go on with more games? Do you need to call it? What's your situation now?
I could probably play one more game. You know, it's getting a little bit late over here, but as far as it goes, yeah, let's do one more.
Okay, give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. You can feel free to talk to the stream. I'll be back in 1 minute and we'll finish that last game.
Hey, how's it going? Has this been helpful for anybody? Nice. Glad to hear it. Yeah, if you have any questions, you know, I'm happy to, you know, talk it through. Yeah, totally, veteran. I appreciate. Yeah. Android. Yeah, you could just DM me. You know, I'm happy to talk through. You know, we can do some one-on-ones, weekend rank, that sort of thing. Is something that, you know, I struggle through just like everybody else. So, you know, happy to help out there. Yeah, war is something that's kind of like with Onslaught. I feel like that's the god power that they added. That it, you know, it really opened it up to newer players, but it's still not something that's necessarily shown off. They give you, like, when you make a new account, you get a lot of nature cards, and you actually get a lot of war specific cards early. But I feel like nature is just so easy to get into that people just go that route instead. Yeah, 350. Nice.
Yeah, I am back. But yeah, if you guys do want to do a little bit of Q&A, if you're open for that, Nottamali, feel free to ask some questions. We can wait a second. Do you have anything pressing you wanted to ask? Get it answered while the People's Champ is live on the channel. I think they probably got those questions out though. All right, let's queue up into another one. I don't want to keep you too late. I do appreciate and value your time here, so let's get right back into it.
Cool. Sounds good.
Mocha Twist. All right, so definitely strength in numbers goes, and overproof brew, right?
Yeah, you'll have to share your stream again with me.
Oh, did I? I thought I just did. I think you might just have to view it again. It looks like I am live, or did I choose the wrong window?
Looks like I've got it. Yep.
Okay,
So you
great.
up the big guys. So, yeah, are we good here? Now we're Soulburn Death's very fast, so we're pretty worried here. Axelman's a great pull that should potentially be able to even it out. I think the Enduring Shield's fine too. Honestly, this looks pretty good.
Okay, we'll keep it. Keep it.
Get ready.
So in this instance, I think we're just going to Intense Training. Any of these hits, as far as what gets the buff, is actually really nice for us. The Leech is super useful against Soulburn Death. Axewoman be huge, and then the double is great too. So
Okay.
I think we have a pretty nice turn one here.
Nice, yeah, it looks like a nice little curve going on. Got the shield that we might need to just use to prevent damage depending on how it goes. I'm not entirely sure. I guess we only have 2 of them, so holding them for the board clear is also quite important.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, against Soulburn, you might want to ping off a bomb fly early because it saves you so much damage. But yeah, for here, just pip up and we'll Intense Training.
Oh, it is my turn. Just kidding. I totally thought it was their turn, but we only have one
Open
bag,
over
so
here.
yeah, sorry, was reading the chat. Hoplite saying a couple things. But Loch Ness Gaston. Alright, so going wide and going wide quick is what's happening here.
It's what Def does well. So we've got a few options here. I kind of want to just Enduring Shield and take off that 1/1. As you said before, it is potentially risky to lose our clear, but honestly, Def usually doesn't go very tall, so a lot of these units actually do have 2 health, and so if we get that Carnage Sweep, we're we're okay. So this sort of trims down some of the favor that he can generate.
Okay.
We're still getting buffed from some of the damage, and we have that Axewoman being able to hit a higher value target. Just hitting the 1/1, like, it'll likely get removed without being able to take anything that would be super threatening. So that's why I would say that this is the play.
Yeah, I agree. And then also having this 3/2 target's a lot juicier as it comes down. And then we can clear the 1. Well, looks like it might be the no, it looks like it's still the 3/2.
Yeah, it seems that way. We'll see what we draw.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
It's that time again.
All right. So only thing that changed is we have a Drider here. So I think we're still gonna punch the 1/1 with the shield and then run.
Right.
We have 3 here.
Yeah, probably take out this 3/2. And yeah, as far as the shield goes, it makes more sense to take it out because obviously, saving 1 damage just isn't really worth it. So yeah, let's drop this down, take out our 3/2, clear out the 1/1, and so the board's pretty manageable again. We haven't really gotten a lot of, so the only other question is, hey, do we play the Sail Weaver? I'd say no.
Yeah, the Skeleton Heavy will just eat it for lunch and then
exactly
probably get the trade there. Protects. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and pass here. Makes sense.
Yeah,
to
we've been pretty lucky to being, we haven't really had a lot of hanging mana in the early game, which is just like a huge part of winning. Like, regardless of what you're doing, as long as you're able to spend all your mana, and spend it on something mildly efficient in trading, like it's you're on a good track. So we've actually been pretty lucky so far with these games and being able to kind of hit things on curve and play around the intense training cost.
Yeah, sounds good. I forgot that I didn't put our win-loss counter back up. Staple of the stream.
True.
It's the staple of the stream, and I forgot about it. So went ahead and threw that back up. I think we're 3-0 right now, so I just updated that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So what do you think the move is now? With
Yeah, it's nothing's looking too nice at the end of the day. I'm kind of leaning towards just intense training and passing it and kind of hoping for that Orcish Elite. The Noct V Pillager would be really nice, but Blight Bomb is just a super common card. So I'd say let's just take out the 2/3 and let's intense training. It's really like a pretty ugly turn, but we have a lot of nice stuff in hand. That's what we were hoping for.
and the Orcish
So
Elite gets hit by
yeah,
the intense training.
so that's kind of the luck of the draw. Sometimes it hits your way, but those Mountain Raiders would have been awesome too. So anything there would, other than the Sail Weaver, so that would have been the only real reason to drop the Sail Weaver. That we would not have been a big fan of it being hit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like at that point it easily could have been a 2/2 trade. So I would say that that's probably, especially looking at how wide they went, looks like considered like more of a misplay. We'll see what we get.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Soulburn's just so fast, and if we don't have our Carnage Sweep, we're not looking too great here. But hey, you know what? We just talk about it and it shows up.
Ask you shall receive. I just want to say real quick, thank you to Fat Android. The sub badge are looking good, and Dan the Dev is back. What is up, Dan?
Yo, how's it going, Dan?
So it looks like, are we okay, so we have to decide, are we Carnage sweeping here to take the 5 damage off the board to save life? Are we playing...
I think we have to. And then we can still play Orcish Elite the next turn.
Okay.
Which these things have been softened up quite a bit, so we can get a lot more clear off of this. Plus, this gives us a lot of favor too, which is, he doesn't have anything at the moment, but it's always nice to have a bit of favor going.
Yeah, that's one thing to note for new players. Burn from Soulburn does not give you favor when the creature dies, so always important to note that.
Yeah, and the other thing I can say on it is, by not putting a creature down, we didn't give him a target to Soulburn.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, if he wants to do that extra 2 damage, he has to give up a creature. That was a nice Sanctum tool from him, actually. Being able to play, I mean, it didn't really matter. Death usually doesn't have an issue with playing 1-cost spells, but the extra draw seemed to have worked in his favor for what we're trying to do anyway.
Yeah. Marmalade, you get favor from making a favorable trade, funny enough, on the board, or hitting face. Aside from turn 1 and 2, where it's 1 favor per face hit or favorable trade, it's 3 for the rest of the game after those turns. All right.
Yeah, it's tough. At the end of the day, if we could have buffed that Noct V, we would have been in the leech range to really help. I think we're just forced to play the Orcish Elite and clear out. But it's probably not going to be enough. But let's just drop that. Let's take out the 4/1.
If we kill the 3/2 and the 4/1, the Orcish Elite can't get targeted. But what do you think is the play there? Does that sound right to you? Hello?
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, let's clear the 4/1 and the 3/2.
Okay, sounds good to me. All right, sorry, I thought I lost it there for a second. Okay.
No, you did. I was talking. I think that the skeleton heavy clear may have been a little bit better, but as you said, not giving them something to soul burn is probably nice too. So luckily, we've got this enduring shield queued up, so we could live another turn. We'll see.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. It's 5 mana though, and that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it.
So we had a bit in the kit with the leech. We just weren't able to put it down. I don't think we did actually have it early. So being worried about the blight bomb at the end of the day may have just been a little bit of a moot point. That's like, okay, well, we need the leech as opposed to the guaranteed board presence. But overall, we had a nice enough turn, but we didn't really couldn't really handle that much of a wide board.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Sometimes it's hard to say, should we play around this card or should we go ahead and and just throw it out there, and I think it's kind of a decision on whether or not it's like it's gonna work out for the rest of it. Like I almost feel like in that case where we're thinking this deck's going fast. Um, okay, yeah, sorry. I think there we go. Now I can get that back full screen for everyone. But where the deck's going fast, maybe it is better to just throw that down, because if we pull the bomb at that point, we're still taking quite a bit of tempo off the board, right, on the other side, because it's going to wait. Does Blight Bomb kill their creatures too, or no?
Bomb's a single target removal. It's a
Oh,
1 cost.
oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking of was it
Which you just
Black Blood? Blood
no.
Blast? Ah,
So the Black Blood Blast. That's a bit of a mouthful.
Blood
That's the
Blast?
6 spell that clears all units and it does 5 damage to the god who played it.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. My bad. I don't know the
Hey
I'm
man,
still getting
all
better
good
at the
though.
cards. Yo, Meals, thank you for the follow. Dan just told me Nottamali still here. Yeah, yeah, Nottamali, you're speak to the people.
There you go. Yeah, no, happy to be here. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys can, go through the recording, but it's we've been playing a lot of good games. We just lost, I think, our first game. Is that
Yeah,
true?
yeah.
That's a bummer. But otherwise, no, we've been having some fun with an intense training deck.
Yeah, yeah, that was great. And it showed me a new way to play Oros. Like as everyone can obviously tell, I wasn't even sure how the ability worked. And but we saw that it's very viable up at Mythic. I know it's not ranked weekend, so it's take it with a grain of salt at playing this deck at this rating, because we're probably fighting people that are farming flux on their off time, but still viable to get up pretty high rank with that list. And yeah, all aside from the Demogorgon, that's all well core and trials.
Right. So, we put a little bit of that extra, let's get that win rate in by dropping the demo. But at the end of the day, really what I was trying to go for was something that if you did luck into the Hector, kind of trying to build a deck around it and just sort of sharing my thinking on, if you have a win con or just something you feel like it will be fun to play, just sort of trying to build around that, which I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, and I really appreciate seeing your perspective and like going through it card by card and explaining why we're putting cards in that we are, and talking about like how are we looking on the curve, and seeing in action how some of those decisions ended up playing out. Like the Carnage sweeps with the two shields like seemed like a perfectly adequate amount of shields to Carnage sweeps. We didn't need more relics than that. At least maybe we got lucky in the games we played, but they seem to time up pretty well. And yeah, just that's something that I've been confused about, is like when I'm running creatures, how do I go about running board clears? Where does that fit into a certain list? So that was really insightful for me, and it was fun to just see something that I haven't played yet before. So I hope people also enjoyed that perspective and seeing the mindset of how you put together these lists, because that was one of the big things I thought of why this would be interesting content. So I really hope people enjoyed it. Yeah. Mythic, but not top 200. Do I still get Mythic rewards, or will I be demoted in the morning? Interesting question. I don't know how the standings work. Um, I cannot hear you if you are
Oh
talking.
yeah, nope. I didn't have too much to say. I was trying
Oh,
to read that too. I
oh,
didn't get it.
sorry. But yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know it's getting late for you, so I'll let you get going.
Right. Yeah,
But
awesome. Well, again, thanks for having me. I, had fun with the deck. If anyone else has any questions, you can, reach me on Discord or just, probably in one of these chats. I'm usually, talking up the streamers, all that stuff. So yeah, thanks again.
yeah, absolutely.